Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Toast.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I didn't realize that this was like an online dating scene right now. I thought we were supposed to tell stories. So tell me your story, Vince.
So I was born in 1990 at the end of summer.
Okay, so welcome back to Toast, everybody. Here we have the most handsome person in the world,
Thank you, thank you.
Vincent Paquette over here. And this time I got like the camera set up so that we actually fit
Do you see the top of my
the
hair?
top of your hair
Perfect.
exactly. Like we need to.
It's
to see
important,
that
especially
stuff.
when you're in quarantine. It hasn't been cut in like a few months. You have to see
Yes.
all of it. Very important.
Yeah. So what stories are we telling today? Where are we in
Oh
the
boy,
world?
man. So we did south of Spain last time, so I figure we stay with the same like weather pattern type thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
back in 2017, when you lived in the south of Italy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Italy. So I love calling it Italy because that's what they call it, and it just like fits in well with like the word eat, like
Exactly.
Italy.
We did a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, so in 2017, for a little bit of context, I lived in Italy and it was fucking awesome, and I was super happy. And I went to visit you, and I was super happy to visit you in Vienna. And I was like, dude, you
Multiple
need to come.
times you came.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, you need to come visit me in Italy. Like, I need
Mhm.
to show you like my country, even though it's not really my country, but like my country,
Sort of your country.
kind of my
It
country.
counts.
I'm
You have
like
a passport, so
an,
it counts.
I'm an honorary Italian. So yeah, so how do we start it?
Yeah, so it was October 2017. I had just gotten back to Europe or to Vienna, and I guess beginning of September. And I had been going through like a bit of a weird time in the summer, so I'm like, I kind of need a vacation. I need to go see my buddy in Italy. I feel like the sunshine will do me some good too, the water, all of that. And I was living with a guy called Philip, a Viennese guy, an Austrian guy. He was also like one of my best buds back then. We lived together a few years, and so we looked at flights. And I guess October in Napoli or in Naples is
Mhm.
kind of off season, or I'm not sure, but the price for the tickets was 40 euros return.
Yeah.
So super cheap. Obviously, like taking an Uber to the airport is pretty much that price. So we did buy the tickets. We went to go see you, but first, as I said, we had to buy the tickets to Naples to Napoli. You were living in Catanzaro.
Catanzaro.
I love
yeah.
saying that word,
Catanzaro.
Catanzaro. But which was, I guess, a few hours away from Naples. But
Yeah.
So anyways, so as I said, October 2017,
Yeah.
and we grab a cheap ass flight with Ryanair. I don't know, you get there, your back is hurting,
Yeah.
all of that. First thing we did, obviously, in Naples, Philip and we ate a pizza.
Yeah.
Guess you would have guessed that, right?
Yeah. That's what you should do in Naples.
Yeah. Yeah. Best pizza of my life. I think that week I ate 7 pizzas or something, So it had to be done.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then like the journey. So one of my favorite things is when I got to Calabria the first time, and like I don't know what the viewers know, but like, and you didn't know anything and I didn't know anything.
No.
Going to Calabria, it's like it's southern Italy. It just sounds like sunshine and everything, but it's also like very like kind of unorganized kind
Uh-huh.
of area. There's like the only thing that's organized is the crime, technically, according to stereotypes.
Yes.
Everything else is not. And so, like, the train system and transportation system, like, at some point, you're taking the train from Naples, and I did the same getting there. The first time, you stop in Naples, eat a pizza,
There you go.
maybe some other things. And there are a couple other things to have in Naples, but pizza's definitely top of the list. It's like
For
the
sure.
first like 4 things on
Yeah,
that
there you
list.
go.
And then like at some point you get to La Terme, and there's just this like little town, tiny ass train station, and you need to change from what's like a normal train to
Yeah.
this like
Old ass train, like I don't know, 1960s or something. And
Yeah.
so obviously you go from the main train station to that little one, normal train, like
Yeah.
most of Europe. But then the tiny one going through like a bit of coastline, a bit of tunnels through the mountains. And Philip and I were looking through the window, and we thought it was really funny because we're like, where the hell are we going? And where does this guy live?
Yeah.
And granted, you did kind of live in the middle of nowhere, but it was a nice middle of nowhere, which
Yeah.
it often is.
Yeah.
So obviously, really nice. So we get there, and at that time, you were teaching English, and I believe, you were giving a class.
Yeah,
So-
you guys landed like in the middle or like at the end of the week, and I'd taken some days off, but the day that you landed, I
Yeah.
don't think I had off or something.
Yeah. So, anyways, we get there, and it's one of those towns where like no one speaks English, and me and Philip are kind of lost. So we're just chilling by the water. Thank God you lived by the water, so we
Yeah.
could just chill there. It was October. It was not so chilly. It was still kind of nice out. We chill, have a beer,
Yeah.
and wait for you. And then you show up, and then you take us sort of out on our first night in small town southern Italy.
Yeah, and like I was really happy because I was really excited to just be like, okay, these guys are here. They're in Catanzaro. I need to take them to like a really nice aperitivo. And like these aperitivi or aperitivos in English, I guess. The aperitivi are really like an Italian thing. And I guess they're kind of like a French and Spanish thing as well. They're just kind of a different vibe. And I loved it because I had this plans to take you guys to a nice aperitivo place. And then by the time I finished work, there were no nice aperitivo places open, and we had to go to like call it the normal standard aperitivo place. And I thought it was hilarious because, like, well, to get there, we ended up going 3 on my scooter.
Yep.
Or
that was
like,
fun.
I just picked you guys up, and I was like, whatever, we'll go 3 on the scooter. So we drive to the place, 3 on the scooter. And luckily, I had like a big scooter. Like for a scooter, that was a big scooter.
I guess so, because like, 3 guys on a small scooter.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing. And did you have 1 or 2 helmets?
I think I only had 2 helmets.
Yeah, okay.
But like, and like anybody who's watching the video version of this podcast can clearly tell that this guy is a giant, right? Like you're dwarfing me even sitting down.
Sorry, man.
And so anyways, we go to this aperitivo, and I love aperitivi because essentially you pay like $7 or 8 euros or something, 7 or 8 euros, and you just get a drink. And then that drink comes with like
a ton of appetizers, I guess you want to call it, and most of them are fried, which is pretty great.
Yeah,
I'd say pretty
amazing.
Great. So you essentially pay for your cocktail and then you get free food.
Yeah,
and that's a great tradition. I wish we had that here. I don't know why we don't.
Yeah,
maybe we should open a place like that or something.
Million dollar idea after coronavirus and the market opens. There'll be a lot of places that we could rent, I suppose.
Yeah, everybody wants to drink and some fried food for sure.
Yeah. So did you enjoy the aperitivo? Did you like?
Of course, of course.
Like
€8 for a cocktail and fried appetizers. Like that's the meaning of life right there. At least it's one of them for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like all kinds of fried foods and stuff.
So we do that, and then we wanted to have another drink, obviously. So we get back 3 on your scooter, and you journey us all the way to the, what do you want to call it? The square, I guess.
Like in Italian, we just call it the piazza.
The piazza,
like the little square in front of a church, typically in a town.
And that was sort of the only place to drink in that town. Like they just set up 4, 5, 6 bars all around the square, and then you sit in the square and just walk up to each bar and like order a beer and come back to the center, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone still drinks outside. They just walk into the bar to order their beers. But on our way to the piazza, and like I lived in a small town, so it's kind of like weird. It's like super close. We could have walked and it would have taken 5 minutes, but instead we took the scooter because we had it. And
way better anyways.
And it was better. and it was fun. And I was super happy because I was like, oh, at least it fits us without like, wrecking the scooter, because I thought with the weight. And then we're like going towards this piazza, like not even a kilometer away. Yeah. And I see in a distance before we get to the piazza that there's some cops, right? And it was just so funny because I just stopped and I'm like, get off the scooter.
Or you park, right? I think you try to like sneakily park it.
I sneakily park the scooter.
And then the guy sees you, for sure.
The guy sees me and he like,
it's like
signals for me to go over.
Me and Philip were just like trying not to look at him. We're like, we don't speak Italian, don't talk to us.
So, and I go to the cop and I was just like, hey, he's like, and the first thing he says, which is hilarious because we mentioned it, he's like, "This is not Naples." Like he said, you can't be more than 2 people on a scooter. And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, like they're just visiting me for like 1 day." So I was like already lying to him a little. I'm like, "They're visiting me for a day. They're not from here. I just wanted to take them from the aperitivo place to here. It was less than a kilometer." And so the guy says like, "I don't have a problem with it, but I really want you to go to my partner and tell him what you did."
Who's sitting in his car.
Who's sitting in the car. Yeah. So like this guy legit tells me to go to a cop who's just chilling, doing what cops do in a car, just sitting there, and I knock on the window. So the guy like rolls down the window, which is like an extra like pain to it. Like if the window was at least rolled down, I could be like, "Signore," like, like person, like man.
Scusi.
Scusi. But essentially, I'm like, your partner told me I need to tell you what I did. And the guy looks at me like very serious, as if I'm a criminal. Like, what did you do? And I'm like, dude, like, okay, I was having an aperitivo with some of my friends and I brought them here and we went 3 on my scooter. He's like, you know that you can't be 3 on a scooter. I'm like, I know. He said, this is not Naples. I'm like, I know. It was like, at least they have a good stereotype in Naples. They don't give a shit. They're just 3 people.
It's funny that they think they're better though.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
no.
think they're better for sure. Yeah, you just not Naples. You can't be 3 on a scooter.
Anyways, nothing
Anyways,
happened. They
yeah,
just kind of
nothing
wanted
happened.
to like, you know,
Yeah,
mess with you a little bit,
yeah,
and we all got a good laugh from it after,
yeah.
for
Okay,
sure.
so then we like went to the piazza and we laughed about it for a while. And like, how was the piazza? Just like,
Yeah, it's chill. Like we said, go for beers. But one of the things I found funny is like, of course, we start off with some like Italian beer, I guess Peroni or whatever. But then you tell me this place has Budweiser, and I should get one because they just call it Bud. Like on the label,
yeah,
I know here we call it Bud, but on the label, it's actually just called Bud.
yeah,
And anybody who knows Canadians, you know,
yeah,
we like to say Bud, like a Bud.
yeah.
And so obviously I got one for what is it, €2 or something? So
Actually, the Budweiser is like a premium beer,
oh
so it
yeah,
was
okay.
€3. Yeah,
Yeah, so I paid a premium price for Bud, but had to do it at that time, you know.
I think it was worth it, bud.
Definitely,
All right.
definitely bad.
And so like after that, typical night, we just like drank a little bit, nothing too crazy. You met some of my Italian friends, may have met some of my Spanish friends
Yep.
as well. I was like chilling there with a bunch of exchange students
Yep.
at the time. Then the next morning, we like had this car rental. Like my boss Tony drove us to Lamezia to pick up the car rental, and we just like take the car, and like very quickly, I think Philip, his roommate who was there, realized that I was going fucking fast on the
Yep.
highway. Like I was booting it. He's like, dude, you're going like 170. The highway limit is 100, and I'm like, yeah, but like in this part of fucking Italy, like
yeah.
it's like they don't even come on the highway because it's too dangerous for them,
Yeah.
and not because people
And
are
at
speeding.
170, you're still getting past.
Yeah, at
know?
170, I was like, they're still passing me like
Yeah.
regularly. And then like, so we kind of journeyed. Do you remember any of the names of the places that we went? Should I get?
Well, I know one of them, but
Yeah.
I know we went to Tropea eventually. But in
Yeah.
between, you're gonna have to help me out with the names there
Yeah.
for sure.
What's great is that they actually call like with the Calabrian accent, they call it Tropea, so it's like the proper English.
Okay.
But yeah, so we went to this beautiful place called Sheila, which is
Sheila,
just
right.
like amazing kind of like town on top of a hill on a cliff by the sea, and there's like beaches on either side. And like I was super happy, and we like stop at the piazza, so the square at the top, and we're just chilling there, taking in the sun and the views. It was a beautiful, like
beautiful, yeah.
October day. Like what the hell?
Well, that's the cool thing about the drive is like because we were driving on the coast,
Yeah.
so we were stopping at towns or villages on the coast.
Yeah.
It's always essentially like cliffs, sunshine, and ocean.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
beautiful. All of them were beautiful, obviously at different levels and
Yeah.
for different reasons, but
For sure.
for sure.
And then like in the piazza, what did we end up getting? We see this like dude with a stand, right? And
The freshest olives.
the freshest olives.
Yeah. Oh man, they were good.
Yeah.
We got a bag of like all the mixture of all the olives you can have for a few euros. And the guy was super friendly too. You know, he
Yeah.
was kind of I don't know, just joking around with us, laughing, and then that was our snack for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, like I think we bought like a kilogram. Like it was just like the price was like half a kilo for like a few bucks, or like a full kilo for like a few more bucks. And we're like, all right, let's just get like
Three guys to, you know, had
just
to do
get
it.
the whole bag. Give us all of the olives. And
You don't get olives like that here. At least maybe you can, but I don't know where. So
you're hard pressed to find them for
especially
sure.
driving around there, you see the olive trees like everywhere, and they all have what is it? These nets like between the trees, so they can just shake them and the olives fall into the nets. I think that's what you told me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you know they're fresh.
Yeah, like those people just shook the tree. It's this weird technique that you gotta like hit it, like like
Wait,
someone
like
they like they like judo chop it with like the most Japanese voice that they can hit. Sorry.
All good.
Anyways, then like we end up going down from the top of Sheila to like the bottom, where you can kind of walk through the town a little bit. You see like boats kind of like parked and things like that, and like it's kind of like almost a port or like a dock, but not really, and it's just for like small local fishermen. And then we see this like little hut, and we're like, all right, let's go to this little hut, because the last little hut we found was great,
Yeah.
And so we go there, and there's just like two things on the menu. It's like fish panini or prosciutto panini.
Yep.
That's it. There's no other option. So I think that we both got.
We got the fish panini
Yeah, I
because we
think
were
all
like
three of us,
literally
yeah.
by the ocean, and we were kind of just in the mood for
Yeah.
fish paninis. I mean, we had enough prosciutto paninis on that trip too. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a problem. you
Yeah.
know?
And so we had like a fish panini and just like chilled it up. Like that guy probably just jumped in the water and like caught it with his bare hands. I mean, old Italian dudes, that's what they do. Then we went to Tropea.
Tropea. So we got back in the car, drove a little bit more, and get to one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I don't know if we have like pictures we can show you or we can look for some, but honestly, Tropea, like wow. So again, same idea, but it's just the view that you get when you're at the bottom on the beach and you look up at the cliffs is just it just blows your mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny because I think a lot of people picture that as like northern Italy, like Cinque Terre, like five Earths. They're just like, oh my God, it's like I need to go there. And it's weird because to me that's just like a normal, like not a normal Italian town, a normal coastal Italian town. But there's so many of them, and like Tropea, obviously, and Cinque Terre. Not to like take away from them, they're like so beautiful. They're like beyond. They're like a next level. And the fact that at Tropea, when you're in the town, it's like this beach that kind of like converges, and then there's this like big rock and like a church on top. So it's just like
really cool place. So.
Really surreal experience.
Yeah. So we went to the bottom, we chilled on the beach for a bit,
Yeah.
had some beers,
Yeah.
and then funnily enough, some dude who does like little boat tours or whatever you want to call it. It's off season, so he kind of just looked like he wanted to, like hang out with people, get a bit of money, and like take us on the tour. So we did that, and it was a great idea because the guy was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because first he shows up and I was like, nah, like we don't want a boat tour. He's like, come on, like 10 euros each. And I'm like, 10 euros each. I'm like, what are you talking about? I could buy like 2 pizzas for that price for each of us. And then he's like, okay, 5 euros each. And then I was like, 5 euros each. And I turned to you guys, 5 euros each? Okay, let's go. 5 euros each. The guy just takes us on his boat, and it was pretty cool.
Salvatore Pescatore.
Yeah.
That was his name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He kept yelling that during the boat ride, which means... What is Salvatore the fisherman?
Yeah, Salvatore the fisherman. Which Salvatore also means like savior. So he's like the fisherman savior.
There you go. And it was still like beautiful out, sunshine, everything. Probably got a sunburn on that boat, but that's
100%.
the life I live, man.
Yeah. And then we went back to Tropea and, just enjoyed the typical normal views, right? It was beautiful. Yeah. And the sun was setting. And I just remember at some point we ended up, we took some of his recommendations, right? He was like,
some gelato,
yeah. So just like very specific gelato in that area of like the Tyrrhenian coast of Italy, which is kind of like the top of the foot over here. And essentially like it's ice cream, like 2 flavored ice cream, kind of like one big ball, and like half of the ball is one flavor, like pistachio, or like hazelnut, very typical Italian flavors. And on the inside, they just have this like creamy chocolate, like fudge kind of thing.
Making me hungry.
We'll see if we could get some after this quarantine. Yeah. So those are called the tartufi or tartufo. And so we had one of those from Salvatore's like recommendation. I think we probably had like another prosciutto panini at some point,
with
like
the fresh mozzarella, always
fresh mozzarella,
always.
And you just get them. And what I love about Italy is that you just kind of get these from like a dep, right? Like just like a convenience store.
You just have fresh meat, fresh cheese, and it's €2, and it's like the best sandwich you've ever had, pretty much. Seriously, that trip I only ate pizza and prosciutto and fish paninis. Like that was it. And I was happy,
Yeah, and it was cool. After that, like we just hung out, we watched the sunset. And what's cool is that like the sunset over there, like you could see, and like you can't really see it during the daytime, but as the sun sets, you start seeing like the silhouette of like some of these Sicilian islands. So like the Aeolian Islands is what we were looking at. And one of them is called, what's it called? Anyways, it's always erupting.
Okay,
and it's Stromboli is what it's called. And it's always erupting. And that's like the closest one. And I was just like hoping to just see this like little glimpse of like light coming out of it and be like, ah. But sadly, we didn't see it erupt. And I think from there, we kind of just went back to...
like the road trip for the day was done.
Yeah,
we went back, but, like... Those days they're awesome, they're beautiful, but at the end you're still kind of tired. You still want to get home at some point.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Knowing us, we obviously don't just go home and go to bed.
No. Yeah. What did we do instead?
I think we went back to the square, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, we went, but we actually stopped somewhere before.
Oh, you had
the
another
square.
idea. Okay, where did we stop?
Yeah, we stopped somewhere before the square. Well, because we're hungry, and like, what do you do when you're in Italy and you're hungry? You
went for pizza.
We went for pizza. We went for pizza, and it was good.
It was good.
That was like.
So you always get the standard like pizza, I think, margarita.
I pretty much always get like margarita pizza.
I always have to add the spicy salami on it every time.
Yeah,
Diavolo.
Exactly. And then what I did there, because I know those guys. So those guys are like Neapolitan, so they're from Naples. People, so they make like that real pizza, let's say. And they're also in Calabria, so they have these like hot peppers because like Calabria is known for these hot peppers. So I just
Yeah.
like take this like tiny little hot pepper. I ask them for it, they give it to you for free, like whatever. And take this tiny hot pepper and just like cut it with a knife and just put it on the pizza. And it's like, do not touch your eyes for like 2 days after you touch that pepper.
Yeah, you told me it wasn't that spicy, so I took a bite of one, and you just saw from my reaction I was not happy. I really like spicy food, by the way,
Yeah.
but that was just like no. I almost
Yeah.
felt like crying, but
Yeah,
I didn't,
yeah, you didn't.
and then
cry.
I enjoyed my pizza.
And then you enjoyed your pizza, and it was good. And I'm super happy to have shared that experience. Like all of that fit into like one day was just
Yep.
like so much, and it's just like hard to do Italy in a short amount of time. I feel like months in Italy still isn't enough, but that day was a good day.
was
And
a
then
good
we
day.
went back and celebrated our success at the day by
Our successful day,
by going to the piazza
There you
and
go.
grabbing some brewskis and
Yeah.
drinking outside and rolling cigarettes.
Always fun thing
guess
to do
so,
in Europe.
yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
So I think that's it for today. We're just about 20 minutes in here. I want to thank my viewers for tuning in, sticking around, listening to the stories, listening to us shoot the shit about pizza and sandwiches. I don't know how many times we should have like a counter
How
of
many
like
times
every
you said
time you say
pizza?
like pizza, it's like ding.
It's an important
Ding.
part of life, man, especially when you take a trip to Italy, no choice.
Yeah.
And that trip came at just a great time. I just really needed sort of a vacation at that point, and you were living in a, secluded but still really beautiful place that,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily get to see if you're just, doing a normal vacation in Italy, for
Yeah.
example, So it was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad that you were able to even like come and see me in like that element. So thanks for being here again, and I guess until next time.
Until next time, my friend. Appreciate it.
Toast out.